Listen, no one's saying you have to be a real sociopath to become a doctor, a nurse, or anyone else in the medical industry who sees death every day. But there's a reason why the field is littered with so many. When you see so much death, you have to be a less emotional and more logical person, as I heard one psychologist put it, to be of any help to others. They're the good sociopaths or psychopaths turned bad, one might call them. And unlike the abundance of death a soldier sees in war, where people are believed to die for a cause, the plethora of death you come across in a hospital setting just seems so mundane, like life isn't this big deal you make it out to be. In the act of dying, you're no different from sucking on a lollipop. Literally. Like once, and this is a true story, this 32-year-old guy they brought into the ER died from sucking on a lollipop. Sucking on a lollipop. He was driving home from a Halloween party, sucking on a lollipop he got as a treat when his car veered off the road on a slippery turn and bumped against a wall just enough to have the airbags deploy and inflate into his face, causing a candy stick and all to lodge into his throat and choke him to death. Like, what the hell? And then there's this other, equally random and casual, and again, all true stuff I've come across. There was this 35-year-old man who died just from laughing at a joke and not being able to stop. I swear to God, after about 13 hours of laughing, he finally died of heart failure. Before he went, when they asked him what was so funny, in between gasps and hoots, he said, there was something about an antelope and shellfish. I remember a part about shellfish. Christ. There was this 18-year-old girl who got a tongue piercing and died from a resulting infection. A 19-year-old guy who died from a penis piercing after he got into a car accident when the anchor of his Prince Albert piercing punched through the tip of his penis and the metal rod crossed over into his urethra, causing death. Some people don't even make it out of revolving doors alive. There was a 6-year-old boy who got his head caught between a revolving door panel and the wall of the revolving chamber. An 80-year-old man who tried to enter with his walker and got stuck inside, where he suffered a stroke and couldn't be reached in time for revival. And a 37-year-old woman whose ankle was hit so hard by the fast-moving door that her anterior tibial artery ruptured, and she died from internal bleeding. Oh, people often just die crossing the street. With jaywalking accounting for more than half of pedestrian fatalities, I saw that a lot. And with cars being the most likely accidental way a person dies, if my shift was between the most dangerous times to drive, Monday through Friday, 4 to 5 p.m., anytime on Saturday, or the 14th of any month for some reason, and Sunday morning between the hours of 12 a.m. and 2 a.m., well, let's just say I was more likely to see a lot of death that will result in a closed casket funeral. And believe me, I'm not blaming some sort of job desensitization for my actions. I'm just saying that upon my entry into the medical industry, I quickly learned that death from outside forces was all too easy and common. There were life-ending heart attacks from gambling, fatal DVT blood clots from sitting in a cramped coach seat on an airplane for too long, and calamitous brain damage from headbutts administered for not getting off the cell phone upon request at a bar. Oh, an FDI fun fact, a person is more likely to experience death by homicide via headbutt than a machine gun, probably because everybody has a head. However, when it came to suicide, I learned that death was not as easy as one would think. As a nurse, when people came into the hospital due to a botched suicide attempt, whether it was from an inadequate dosage of pills that led to things like seizures or comas, to leaps from buildings with insufficient heights that left them paralyzed, to unsteady hands with a rifle that would do little more than require years of reconstructive surgery, the good Lord knows I just couldn't bear it. And that's where my legacy, so to speak, comes in.